Hello everyone, welcome back to the video. So today we will be covering three main concepts. So concept number one will be variables, concept number two will be data types, and concept number three will be comments. Okay, variables. What are variables? Variables in Python are what we use to store data slash values. Variables are what we use to store data slash values. So take a look at this. We have number 1 equals to 3, and we have number 2 equals to 44. Okay, so according to the description that I've just provided, we said that variables are what we use to store data. Okay, so here number 1 and number 2 over here, they are both variables. Okay, because they both store values. Okay, so number 1 has the value 3 and number 2 has the value 4, and these values are assigned to these variables over here by using an equal sign. Okay, and as you can see, 3 is assigned to the variable number 1 by using an equal sign, and 44 is assigned to the variable number 2 by using an equal sign. Okay, good. So in Python, an equal sign, we refer to it as an operator. Okay, we refer an equal sign, we refer it to an operator. So we will cover in detail what operators are in future videos. Okay, great. So this is what a variable simply is. So knowing that, we'll write more variables. So let's say we have a variable called name, which has the value James, and we have a variable called age, which has the value 56, and we have a variable called weight, which has a value 32.1, and we have a variable called is learning, which has the value true. Okay, great. So these are all variables, and the variables that we have over here are name, the second variable is age, the third variable is weight, the fourth variable is learning. Okay, great. So this is where I'm going to talk about data types. Okay, so before I start talking about data types, let's say an external user takes a look at our program over here that we have just wrote. Okay, so such users may not understand what's going on in the program. Okay, so this is where comments come into place. Comments in Python are what we use to provide explanation to what's going on in the program. Okay, what do I mean by this? So as I said, maybe an external user may take a look at what we are doing over here and may not know what's going on. So comments are used to explain what's going on in the code. Okay? Okay, great. So for instance, we want to explain this line of code over here. So all we have to do is just add a comment on top of it. Okay, so this is how to write a comment. You start by typing in the hashtag and say and leave your comment over there. Okay, so this line has a variable with a string data type. Okay, so same for the other line. So this is a variable with an integer data type. Okay, and for the other line, we also put a comment. This is a variable with a float data type. And for the last line, we also add a comment saying this is a variable with Boolean data type. Okay, great. So as you can see over here, we have used the comments to describe the lines of code that we have wrote. Okay, so this is where I would continue to talk about data types. So variables, as you can see them, they store values, okay? And the values can be of different data types. So as you can see in the variable name, we have our value, which is called James. And this James, the data type of this value is what we call a string, okay? So the data type of this value is what we call a string, okay? So what is a string? A string is anything that is in between. Oh, yeah. So a string is anything that is between quotes, okay? So as you can see over here, we have the name James, and it's in between open and closed quotes, okay? So a string can be written by using double quotes, or can be written by using single quotes. So as you have seen in the previous example that I've provided, we used double quotes, okay? And then we wrote our name inside over here. So this is a string. Also, a string can be something like this. We can use single quotes and then write our name inside the quotes, okay? So basically this is what a string is. Great. So as you can see on the next variable, we have a comment which says this is a variable with an integer data type. So this variable over here, this variable age, has the value 56, okay? And 56 is the data type which we call integer, okay? Why do we call it integer? Because it is a non-decimal number. There are no decimal points in this number. So this is an integer, okay? So it can be something like 56, or maybe 48, or maybe 110, 101, and so on and so on. Maybe even 1,000, and so on. Okay, great. So an integer has no decimal values. So on the next variable, we have a variable called weight, which has the value 32.1. Okay, so as you can see, we added a comment over here which says this is a variable with a float data type. So the variable weight stores the value 32.1, of which this value over here, the data type of this value, is what we call a float. Okay, so a float is any number that has a decimal place, that has decimal points. Okay, so a float is basically a decimal number. So this is what a float is. Okay, oh, all right. So also we have another variable over here which is called isLearning. Okay, so this variable, as you can see in the comments, this variable is of data, stores a value of data type boolean. So what are boolean values? Boolean values are simply true and false. Boolean values are simply true and false. Okay, so as you can see over here in our variable isLearning, the boolean value that we have over here is true, but we can change it. We can say maybe it's false. Okay, great. So no errors over here, but these boolean values, they must start with a capital letter. Okay, as you can see over here, true, whether it's true or false. So true is it must start with a capital letter. So in case we start to write a boolean value with a small letter, as you can see over here, we get a red highlight which indicates that there's an error over here. Okay, so as you can see over here, unresolved reference true. Okay, so this is not the correct way to write a boolean value. So this is the correct way. And same case with the false boolean value. Let's say we write false and we start writing false with a small capital letter. Okay, so as you can see also here we also get a red highlight which indicates that there's something wrong with what we have just written over here. Okay, so great. So these are different data types which you have in Python. Okay, so there are also other data types including complex numeric data types and so on. So these are the main types, these are the main data types which we will be using in our programs later on. Okay, so we have seen comments also. Comments are very helpful when writing code because it explains what each line of code does, and also explain when you're writing complex programs which involves many lines of code. Comments are very important because they help explain what different parts of the code do. Okay, they explain different functions of the different parts of the code. Okay, great. So far we have seen about variables, we have seen how to write variables, we have seen the data types, of which we have a data type called string, a data type of string, we have a data type of integer, a data type of float, and a data type of boolean. Okay, so let's say we want to display the value of these variables over here. So let's say we want to display the value of the name variable. Okay, our name variable over here which has the value James. Okay, so to display value, to display value, to display an output, as we have seen in the last video, we use this statement over here, print brackets, then inside the brackets is where we put in the content that we want to be displayed. So in this case we want to display this variable name over here which has the value James. So all we have to do is click on the run icon over here at the top right, click on the run icon, and the console will appear. The console, as we have seen in the last video, this is the console which displays the output of our program. Okay, so in our program we are saying, hey, display the value of the variable name. Okay, and then the console brings the value of the variable that we wanted to display. So in this case we want to display the variable name which has the value James. Okay, so let's say we want to display the value of the variable weight. So all we have to do in our code, inside the print statement over here, we write weight. Okay, so when we click on the run icon we get a new output which reflects the value of the variable which we have inputted here in the print statement. Okay, so that's basically it. Also, when we want to display the value of this variable over here, we just here at the print statement, all we have to do is just write this variable is learning. Okay, so as you can see it appears over here. Just click on it, then click on the run icon, and here it is, the output which reflects the value of our variable over here. Okay, yeah, so that is a quick overview of what variables are and the different data types that we use in Python, and the significance of comments in writing lines of code. Okay, so congrats to you for learning what a variable is, for learning the different data types that we use in Python, for learning about comments and how we can use the comments in our programs. Okay, so in the next video we will be going through functions and modules. Okay, we will get an overview of what a function is and how we can use it in our programs, what a module is, how we can use it in our programs, and after that we will be creating our first computer vision project. Okay, good. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.